Hello, welcome back to Ekene Banye's Reflections. Today, I want to talk about a recent video of the president of Argentina. He went to the World Economic Forum event in Davos last week, and his speech went viral. Uh, there were several millions of views in different news channels. I listened to that speech in full, and I wasn't about to bring it here, but I posted the link to the speech on social media. And since then, that was 2 days ago. Since then, many of my contacts have been, I would say, questioning me. Yes. In fact, we have been having a long, drawn out conversation and debates. It's so fascinating that I decided to bring it to you, because many of you that have been following me for a while know that I believe in the free market, and many young Africans don't believe in the free market. And I think it's going to be a disaster if Africans decide to go the other way. Because I would say this clearly, the free market has been responsible for the development of the world. One of my friends who I've been talking to, but he uses so many negative words about capitalism and the free market, and he sees it as it's as if it's the devil. And this is why I really want to talk about it. Because if we go this route, we will forever be behind. And that concerns me. Anyway, let's just watch a little bit of his speech. Now, his speech is talking directly to the people of the West. Hold on.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Hoy estoy acá
Today, I'm here
para decirles que Occidente
to tell you
está en
that the
peligro.
Western world is in danger.
Está en peligro porque
And it
aquellos que
is
supuestamente deben
endangered
defender
because
los valores
those
de
who are
Occidente
supposed to have to
se
defend the
encuentran
values of the
cooptados por
West
una visión del
are
mundo
co-opted by
inexorablemente
a
conduce al
vision of the
fascismo,
world
en
that inexorably
consecuencia,
leads to
a la
socialism
pobreza.
and thereby to poverty.
Lamentablemente,
Unfortunately,
en las últimas
in
décadas,
recent decades,
motivados por algunos deseos
motivated
interesantes de
by
querer ayudar
some
al prójimo
well-meaning
y otros por el deseo de
individuals
pertenecer a una
willing
casta
to help
privilegiada,
others, and others
los
motivated
principales
by the
líderes
wish
del
to
mundo
belong to a
occidental
privileged
han
caste,
abandonado
the
el
main
modelo de la
leaders of the
libertad
Western world
por
have
distintas
abandoned the
versiones de
model
lo que
of
llamamos
freedom
colectivismo.
for different versions of what we call
Nosotros estamos acá
collectivism.
para decirles que
We're
los
here
experimentos
to tell you
colectivistas
that collectivist
nunca han sido la
experiments
solución a los
are
problemas que
never
aquejan a
the
los ciudadanos del
solution
mundo,
to
sino
the
que por el
problems
contrario
that
son
afflict the
su
citizens
causa.
of the world. Rather,
Créanme,
they are the root cause.
nadie mejor que
Do believe
nosotros
me,
los argentinos para dar
no one
testimonios
better placed
de
than
estas dos
us,
cuestiones.
Argentines, to testify to these two
Cuando
points.
adoptamos el modelo de la
When we
libertad
adopted the
allá por el año
model of
1860,
freedom back in 1860, in 35 years we became a leading world power. And when we embraced collectivism over the course of the last 100 years, we saw how our citizens started to become systematically impoverished, and we dropped to spot number 140 globally. But before having the discussion, it would first be important for us to take a look at the data that demonstrate why free enterprise capitalism is not just the only possible system to end world poverty, but also that it's the only morally desirable system to achieve this. If we look at the history of economic progress, we can see how between the year 0 and the year 1800 approximately, world per capita GDP practically remained constant throughout the whole reference period. If you look at a graph of the evolution of economic growth throughout the history of humanity, you would see a hockey stick graph, an exponential function that remained constant for 90% of the time and which was exponentially triggered starting in the 19th century. The only exception to this history of stagnation was in the late 15th century with the discovery of the American continent. But for this exception, throughout the whole period between the year 0 and the year 1800, global per capita GDP stagnated. Now, it's not just that capitalism brought about an explosion in wealth from the moment it was adopted as an economic system. But also, if you look at the data, what you will see is that growth continues to accelerate throughout the whole period. And throughout the whole period between the year 0 and the year 1800, the per capita GDP growth rate remained stable at around 0.02% annually, so almost no growth. Starting in the 19th century, with the Industrial Revolution, the compound annual growth rate was 0.66%. And at that rate, in order to double per capita GDP, you would need some 107 years. Now, if you look at the period between the year 1900 and the year 1950, the growth rate accelerated to 1.66% a year. So you no longer need 107 years to double per capita GDP, but 66. And if you take the period between 1950 and the year 2000, you will see that the growth rate was 2.1%. Again, the CAGR, which would mean that in only 33 years we could double the world's per capita GDP. This trend, far from stopping, remains well alive today. If we take the period between the year 2000 and 2023, the growth rate again accelerated to 3% a year, which means that we could double world per capita GDP in just 23 years. That said, when you look at per capita GDP since the year 1800 and until today, what you will see is that after the Industrial Revolution, global per capita GDP multiplied by over 15 times, which meant a boom in growth that lifted 90% of the global population out of poverty. We should remember that by the year 1800, about 95% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty, and that figure dropped to 5% by the year 2020, prior to the pandemic. The conclusion is obvious. Far from being the cause of our problems, free trade capitalism as an economic system is the only instrument we have to end hunger, poverty, and extreme poverty across our planet.
Okay. Now, Javier Milei was just Argentina's president just about 6 weeks ago, and he contested as a libertarian, and he clearly stated what he wanted to do, and his people voted for him, and that's because for a long time, Argentina has been floundering. Argentina went from the top to the bottom. Today, let's see what's the rank of Argentina. Let's check it out. I know for a fact that before the election, Argentina's inflation reached 140%. So let's see what's the current. Wow. Today, this Reuters article published 3 days ago, Argentina's inflation is 211%. Wow. Wow. My God, this is serious. Anyway, now, why is this important for Africa? Many of the things that President Javier Milei said can be found in Africa, the same circumstances. Now, I mentioned that I've been in several debates with my contacts about that his speech. One thing that was so interesting was that none of them ever talked about anything he talked about in his speech. None. I asked them questions about the speech. None of them have had a single thing to say about the speech. That leads me to assume that they haven't listened to the speech. So it seems they are triggered just because he made a speech. They don't know the details of the speech. See, that's why I will put this link to the speech under this video, because I want every one of you who watches this video to watch this speech. And maybe take a piece of paper, take notes, and look at the things he mentioned and ask yourself, do I see this around me? Because Argentina, once upon a time, was one of the richest countries of the world. Argentina is one of the richest countries of the world. They have a lot of arable land. They can farm. They have it in abundance. But because of their economic policies, Argentina is not working. Now, I'm not here to convince anybody to subscribe to capitalism. No. But I want to say one thing. See, I always recommend people to at least understand the issues at hand. And I want to encourage all of us to even read something to understand what capitalism is. As a concept, we need to understand what it is. Because many people who always cry that capitalism is this and that and that, when you ask them questions, they don't know. And that's, for me, it's a big red flag. That means that we are going around crying about something that we don't know. So what does that mean? It means somehow we have gotten this ideology that this thing is not good, and we take it, we buy it, swallow it, and start spitting it. That's bad for us. See, I want us to know things. I want us to debate everything. See, the more we debate things, the more we debate the facts of the matter, the better we are, the more knowledgeable we are. But I see that amongst a lot of us who talk about things we don't know. It scares me for Africa. It scares me for the abundance, the biggest resource that God has given Africa. It's youth. If the youth of Africa, the future of Africa, do not know things, but they choose to go out and speak about those things, what will happen to Africa? I will tell you this. Then we are preparing for we talk about colonization a lot. Okay. If we don't know things and we pretend as if we know, well, we will be preparing ourselves for the second colonization. Colonization by the foreign powers, colonization by our politicians, colonization by the people who know things. So please, I want us to read. I want us to debate. See, again, I said I will put this link under this video, and I want us to listen to it. Okay, take notes, and maybe come back and let's talk about them. Okay, because I think it's important, because the parts that took Argentina from the heights to the bottom is something we need to look at and ask ourselves, this is happening to Argentina. This same thing is happening to this country, that country in Africa. Now, I said I will recommend some books. See, when it comes to capitalism, okay, Adam Smith. Well, this is the Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. Okay, this is the book where Adam Smith dissected capitalism in practice. Okay, so this is it. Now, he also wrote this book called The Theory of Moral Sentiments, the ethical, philosophical, and psychological underpinning of the author's economic theory. So this, at least when you read this foundational book, at least you understand the concept of capitalism. And then I know a lot of young Africans talk about socialism a lot. This is the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx. Okay, it's a simple document. Yeah, you can read it in 30 minutes or maybe 1 hour. Okay, that's it. And then this is Capital, also by Karl Marx. Okay, so see, I want you to read all this so that you can look at those the underpinning of capitalism and underpinning of socialism. Now this book by Dr. Thomas Sowell is one of the greatest books he has written, called Knowledge and Decisions. Now, it's a little bit technical, okay? But if you really want to understand how decisions are made and why it's best for individuals to make those decisions, I would recommend this book. Now, I just finished this book. In fact, this afternoon. Well, it took me 2 months. It took me 2 months, okay? But I in between, I was reading other books, but it took me 2 months. This is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. This is a novel. His book is big. It's over 1,000 pages. But anybody want to leave their imagination to see what happens when every decision is made for the sake of the collective. Read this if you want. Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand. Now, am I saying that we should not do things collectively? No, I'm not. But experience has shown that when it comes to economic decisions, collective action or decisions are not the best way. Because since we started implementing capitalism, free market, the world has exploded. The world has exploded. Yes, nothing human beings do is perfect. Nothing. So we still have difficulties. But compared to the alternatives, capitalism and free markets has done a tremendous work in bringing us to where we are today. Today, I'm making this video with a camera, with a laptop, with a microphone, with a headset, with lighting, all made by the free market. You are watching this video maybe on a computer or a phone and on YouTube. All those things are made by the free market. So look around you. Everything you have, try to count how many of them were not provided to you by the work of the free market. So, my brothers and sisters, let's listen, learn, ask questions. Ask questions. I will tell you this simple truth. I wasn't a big free market person for a long time. I was leaning so much to socialism because I thought it worked. And one of my mentors and my graduate school professor was a big Marxist. And he was a good friend of my father. And he was my project supervisor. He was a big Marxist. And he taught me a few things about that. Maybe that's where I got the notion that it was a good thing. I wish that he was alive today for us to discuss these things. Anyway, my point is this. Let's be open to discuss things. Let us not assume anything. Let us not have an opinion on things we don't know. Let's keep our minds open. If you like this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so that you can be getting my videos as soon as I post them. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.